I do like riding bikes every day. It is a lifestyle. I feel like a 40-year-old surfer that, wakes up and goes surf before work every day or something like that. I'm a big proponent of lifestyle design. I absolutely believe in, creating the life you wish rather than just kind of being passive about what your life is. I designed the house to fit the way I live. I was motivated to build this house just because my whole life I've always wanted a ramp everywhere I've lived, and I've just never been able to build one, either at my parents' house or where I was renting in my 20s. I rode my first legitimate backyard ramp when I was probably 11, 12, or 13 maybe. That kind of kept me motivated all these years just to finally make this a reality. Like, I knew it was important to me, and it was such a huge stressful undertaking, but I knew the reward of having this in my yard, especially in New Orleans where there's not a lot of ramps. There's not really any big ramps in Louisiana at all anymore. To my knowledge, this is actually probably the biggest ramp in the state. It took us 11 days to build, every day, start to finish. I had Ryan Corrigan, who's a professional ramp builder for X Games, come out and just lead the build, and then me and my friends, we made it happen. But it was always about just having something fun to ride, something that would last long term, that was built well. And that's what I've wanted. That's what I've wanted, for as long as I've wanted to build a ramp. To have that space for not just me, but people I'm close to and ride BMX bikes with. I wanted to provide that space, and I was just kind of dead set on it for so many years, and I was, finally able to open enough credit card accounts to make it a reality. I wanted to build a ramp before I built a house, but the city let me know that if I didn't build a house first, they would take my property back minus 25% what I paid for it. So the house came first. I just built the house to where I'd have as much backyard space as possible to build the biggest ramp possible. Ordered a ramp with a side of house. I feel a connection to the city at this point, because I've just been in this area for so long. There's just something about New Orleans that people always say it's the most unique city in the country. I remember living a few hours away from here during Hurricane Katrina, and afterwards, people weren't sure if the city was going to come back, and I wanted to be a part of rebuilding the city. I chose Bywater just because the land right next to the Mississippi is high ground for New Orleans. New Orleans, the most sought after neighborhoods along the river can be more expensive, but even still, New Orleans is pretty affordable to live, especially if you find a place that hasn't been freshly renovated and you don't mind putting in a little bit of work yourself on it. I think shotgun homes are fascinating in and of themselves. It's just the history behind them and just how much longevity they've had, especially in New Orleans. There's more shotgun houses in New Orleans than anywhere else in the country, and they're built from barge wood that was floated down the Mississippi, and then the barge, all this old growth wood from up north, was dismantled and used to build a lot of these shotgun houses. And that's why this old growth wood, that's why a lot of them are still standing today. People renovate them. You can't buy wood like that anymore. Her paw still hurt?
It does. She still runs after the chickens and the cats. So.
Yeah, well, of course. Never too hurt for that. This house was really just supposed to look like a shotgun, actually, because I'm in the historic district in Bywater, and they wanted it to look like the 3 shotguns next to my house, which it does, but really it's just 2 tiny apartments. It's a duplex. I live upstairs, and I rent out the downstairs to help with the bills. I never would have been able to purchase in this neighborhood if I hadn't built something. I couldn't really afford that many I couldn't really afford anywhere that was high ground. I feel like New Orleans has just been a constant. The one constant thing it's had is change, so I want to be a part of, making it my own, rebuilding the city. I was naive in going to build a house, even with all the experience I had. It took me 5.5 years from purchasing the property from start to finish. It took me 2 years just to get a set of plans, and even then they had mistakes and the mechanical things I had to figure out. It just felt like it was all just research and detail-oriented tasks. I got the design from basically looking at commercially available residential designs online, because I'm not trained as an architect at all. I didn't even take any architectural classes or design classes in college, but I basically looked at other designs and how things worked, and I came up with my own tailored design. I knew from the beginning I wanted it to be a duplex because I knew I would need help in paying for it after it was completed. Come on, let's go upstairs. Hey, upstairs. Come on. And I designed it in a way to where if I ever wanted to live in the house as just a single family, 2-story house, then I could. I wouldn't have to knock down any walls, but otherwise it's a legal, perfectly functional duplex. We are in my living room / office / kitchen / dining room. The whole house, my apartment anyway, is only 2 rooms, so I tried to make it as as functional as possible. This is my whole media setup. I didn't want to put a TV in here just because I'm so limited on space already, and I had to get rid of so many of my things. This is my dining room / kitchen. There's not a lot of counter space for a kitchen, so my kitchen island doubles as a dining table as well as meal prep. Try to keep things pretty simple, not a whole lot of cabinets, but it works out pretty well. I make a lot of shakes, so I have my whole shake cabinet as well, and put utensils in it. That's mostly the kitchen space right there. This is my bedroom. This is the only room in the house that doesn't have dual purposes, no TV or anything else. This is just, where I do the sleeping mostly. The sink is in the room itself, so you don't have to walk through a hallway to get into the bedroom. And then this is my bathroom. It's super small. I had to use a 4.5-foot clawfoot tub because we didn't realize that a 5-foot would be too big in here, but it worked out. It's cozy, it's comfortable. This is my armoire flex that I got. I wanted the rooms to be modular. Basically every house I've lived in since I moved out of my parents' hasn't had a closet. So I wanted modular racks. I designed the house without closets. It's motivation to keep less stuff. Hey, my kitty cat. So this is the downstairs apartment. This is the downstairs bedroom.
And you can see like both the apartments, mine and this one. It's a legal duplex. I have 2 water meters and whatnot. I made it a duplex. I mean, it's essentially just 2 tiny houses on top of each other. So that way, the house, it's my first house I've ever bought. I want it to be at least somewhat financially self-sustaining. The way I designed the house though was basically so that if I ever wanted to sell it and a whole family wanted to live in the house, you wouldn't have to tear down any walls or knock down any doors. But it is a legal duplex. There's 5/8 sheetrock separating the apartments. I have a metal heavy-duty fire door that locks from my side, separating them as well. So it works out. I tried to design, like I said, it's just back to modularity as far as like layout of the space, just the functionality of the entire duplex. This is the other bedroom. Once again, small, modular closet, but it's everything you need to be comfortable in a space. We had to do a short water heaters because of the stairs coming up right here into the next apartment. But have a little, small utility closet there. And then the bathroom, the same thing with how the stairs are coming up. Same thing, another 4.5-foot clawfoot tub, small sink, small mirror, everything. Try to keep it as simple and just as tight as possible. So this is the kitchen. And once again, there's not a lot of space down here, so my mom bought these, and these were custom made for a lawyer like 100 years ago. But once again, it just kind of doubles as counter space, as storage. I have limited cabinet space up here, so it just kind of makes just as functional as possible for whatever you need it to be in a small space. So this was an armoire that my mom has had my entire life. This goes back to things being modular. I want something that could, be moved if need be. One of the goals I had in building the house was I wanted to make everything long lasting. Everything from the doors. I used, heavier duty doors, and the handles, like the beds are all pine downstairs. Countertops, I used concrete. I used real wood cabinets. I wanted everything to be as long lasting as possible. I didn't want to use cheap things that I would eventually have to throw away and replace eventually. Like the floors, I used stranded bamboo floors, which are just as hard as hardwood floors, but cost less, and they're water resistant, which is good if you have a 80-pound dog drooling all over your floor after runs. Both spaces are so small. I wanted everything to feel as bright and open as possible, especially because I work full-time at home. I need my space to kind of like be keeping me awake, keeping me energized. Sheriff, you want a smoothie? All the walls are white, the floors are a light color, there's lots of windows everywhere. It makes the space feel bigger, so it makes me feel energized and waking up. It's almost like a peaceful loudness, if that makes sense. Now that I've finished the space and I'm actually living in it, I feel sound and that I have like my own space. 2 heaping teaspoons of chia seeds. It feels surreal to actually be in it at this point. It's crazy to work on, the same project for, 5.5 years, and to actually, be able to, pull it off in something you've never, a huge undertaking that you've never done before. Feels good to be in the space now, you can't really complain if you're the one who designed, every detail about it, inside and out. Both the apartments, I designed them small, one just because I'm a fan of tiny living. Let me show you the backyard and the balcony, but also just because I wanted to have as much backyard space as possible. So this is my balcony. It was always about the ramp. It takes up the entire yard. Having a backyard ramp has really been a goal for the majority of my life.
I was able to get it done, and it feels good to do that. I don't know if I would have done it if I knew what was involved. Maybe it was better that I was naive, but I do have basically a gym in my backyard. Being able to ride every day and just maintain that lifestyle, it keeps me mentally sound, it keeps me physically healthy, but it also keeps my brain right and just having that outlet. Not to say what I'm doing is all that special or anything else, but at least trying, at least putting in the effort to craft your life and live the way that makes you happiest, the way that makes you feel the most fulfilled. For me, that's creating things in general, positive things, things that I feel are at the very least, good for the community, good for the BMX community and the skate communities, if not just the overall community. I've got a lot of positive feedback from the house and the ramp, from neighbors as well too, which feels good, especially on the ramp aspect. It's not for everyone. It's a headache. I have more gray hairs from this project than I can count, but I'm absolutely a believer in at least trying. You might fail, but at least trying to create the life that you want to live.
What? Yeah! Wait, you can box, dude?